Hi, George. I'm Brooke. How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
Good, good, good. George, in reviewing your file, I saw that your wife passed a few months ago recently. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And George, how are you handling this?
Well, I'm doing the best I can. I believe, we've been married for a very long time, and we've been sweethearts since high school. So I'm 56 years old. I don't like to say the six, but
Well,
but
you
anyway.
look very well for your age.
Well, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 56, okay. Well, George, I definitely am sorry for the loss of your wife. Just hearing you talk about your wife and the loss within a few seconds, I can hear deep sincerity and just love. So I want to first off just let you know this is everything that we discuss in this session in this room is confidential, so you don't have to worry about your information going to anybody, anything, or seeking out or seeping out into anything, social media, and any of those things. Okay, so just feel free to express anything that you're feeling. If you feel like you need to cry, it's absolutely fine. If you feel feelings of frustration and anger, just let me know, and we will work with you together. We're going to do this together, get through this together, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If I do sense feelings of wanting to harm yourself or harm someone else, I will have to take notation of that and definitely progress to getting you stronger support so that we make sure you're protected, because you coming in the door shows that you want help, and so we want to make sure that you're getting the help that you need if things get to that point. Okay?
I appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to ask you a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions I wanted to ask is, with you experiencing the pass of your wife, I know that you are a manager in the store. How has the loss of your wife affected you work-wise?
Well, I'm normally a workaholic anyway, so I find myself at a truly different place. I think it was at first being a workaholic because I'm actually working a job that I like,
Mm-hmm.
and so time kind of escapes you when you're doing something that you like to do. But I found myself, after my wife passed, found myself working more so as a distraction. So I recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
I think my daughters recognize it just as well. So I think it's turned from something that was in terms of maybe a healthy accomplishment of how I have done things most of my working career. At this point, it's more that I'm doing it to kind of help time to pass. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of shifted a lot of things for me in that area.
Yeah, so just kind of going through the motion at work. You are passionate about what you do. You like your job. You actually like your job, but it's just become more intensified with work, just to kind of bury your feelings with the loss of your wife.
Yeah, it's more of that. I think overall, as I forestated, I've always been one that believed in achieving and stayed very focused about those types of things. And so, of course, working like that, there was a purpose for doing it. That was to make things better for my wife and our family.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that she's gone, of course, our daughters are pretty well grown now. Our youngest is in college; she's a junior,
Mm-hmm.
and then our oldest, she's married. Her and her husband live in Paris, and they're successful at what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But work was a part of that mechanism to make sure that they all had things. But now that my wife is gone, which is a hard thing to even say,
Mm-hmm.
but work has become the place to go. I'm still accomplishing the same things that I used to accomplish, but I think that I've probably let it become more of a diversion because coming back to the house is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, work has been kind of the escape hatch, so to speak, for me. So that's just the truth.
Do you find yourself being irritable at times, or annoyed or angry some days?
Well, I think irritable, you probably have to talk to maybe the people on the job because I'm the only one in the house. But so you'd have to ask them about my irritability. But the anger, yes, I can say that in the sense that I'm angry because it's like I made this deal with my wife. We were going to grow old together, that type of a thing. And I understand that there's certain parts of our health that are in our control. She was, we did things that we needed to do to keep ourselves healthy, but cancer was not one of those things she could have avoided.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I feel angry because she's not here. Sometimes I probably shouldn't say it, but I'll say it. I sometimes am angry with God because she's not here. So sometimes I'm angry with myself because there's so many things that I knew about her that I probably took a little bit for granted, and not in the sense that it was not in the sense that it was malicious.
Mm-hmm.
I think just common type things that you cherish maybe a little more if you don't have it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe to some degree I probably did that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So since your loved one died, are you highly anxious most of the time about your own death maybe? Or how do you feel about yourself?
I think ultimately I feel like I'm not afraid of death or dying. I feel like that's a part of life. I guess if there's any anxiety about that part of my life is that will I have been able to accomplish some of the things that I really wanted to do, outside of that, but I don't really have any anxieties, about dying or anything of that in that particular nature. I don't. I just feel like it's a natural part of the process of living. So.
Okay. Well, is there any aspects of what you're experiencing that makes you wonder about whether you're normal or going crazy? Or
Oh gosh! Well, my wife always told me.
A lot of emotions.
My wife always told me I was abnormal.
Oh goodness!
So I think I've probably been more prepared for the abnormalities in life. She always would tease me about certain things, and we do it in fun. And I know at most times she, would always encourage me, not to be so serious about everything to a certain degree. But that's kind of where I'm at with that.
So I'm gonna ask you one last honest question here. In your grief process, do you feel like you're unable to move on?
Well, I think in some aspects, yes. And I think maybe for me, because right now everything is just so fresh, everything is so now.
Mm-hmm.
I have to still kind of work it out in my mind, in my emotions, and in my heart. I gotta kind of figure how to work through some of those types of things. So I was talking to my pastor at church, and she has a background in counseling and psychology just as well. So I talked with her, about certain parts of my culpability or the lack thereof.
Okay.
So I think it just all depends with me on what part of my life. Some parts I feel like I'll probably never move on, and then there's other parts where I understand that my wife would have said to me, life is for the living, so you got to keep moving.
Right.
I have that wrestling thing that goes on because I don't want to feel like I'm betraying her memory, so to speak. It's just one of those types of things, but I feel like it just all depends on which part of my life that I'm dealing with. I feel like I know how to move on, or I should say it better this way. I feel like I know that I have to move on, but I have to learn how to do that, in each of the different areas. So that's kind of where I am with that.
Okay. Well, you said something that was key, I believe, which was learning how to move on. When you experience such a devastating situation, learning how to move on seems so far away to be able to reach, so far to obtain, as far as finding out that solution to do that. It seems like it's unrealistic, like it's unable to happen, but it is very probable, very capable of happening. And what I definitely would like to do is have you meet with a very good friend of mine. His name is Nick. He works with a men's empowerment facility group where they specialize dealing with men who have experienced bereavement and grief, things of that nature. Because it's unfortunately, men get labeled as not having feelings, not having emotions, and you know how society defines men don't cry, and men actually do have feelings, just like you're a person. We're people, we have feelings, we have emotions, and so it's important to know how to channel those emotions. When you leave from here, you may experience different sporadic emotions of overwhelmness. When you're at your house, you may just have different experiences and feelings that arise. So just learning from being around other men can be very helpful. Meeting the representative I'm talking about, Nick, I believe would be very, very helpful, considering he lost his wife about 15 years ago due to breast cancer. So he's such a phenomenal man. He's very courageous, very inspiring, and would love you to get a chance to meet each other. So I'm going to set up an appointment date with you two at the facility. It's downtown Charleston. Are you familiar with downtown Charleston? Okay. The site location is on Meeting Street. The address is 620 Meeting Street. So I'm going to have my secretary give you the information. Is that something you would be interested in?
Yes, I would definitely like that.
Okay, let's see. He has it available. What's your availability like next week?
Any day is pretty well open. I can kind of schedule.
Okay.
What I need to.
All right. It looks like he has Thursday the 13th at 7 a.m. Would that be suffice?
Can we do at 9 instead of 7?
9? Okay. All right. So I'll have you for 9. And then I'd like to follow up with you the following week. What day the following week would be good for you?
Again, I'm fairly well open. My supervisors on the job have given me some leeway to schedule different appointments as such. So
that's good that they're working with you. So Tuesday the 18th, would 10 a.m. be good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
That's good. Mornings are usually better.
Mornings are better. Okay. I will keep that in mind, and I will go ahead and let the secretary know to schedule you for these dates, these upcoming dates, and she will be following up with you. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you take care, and I'll see you not this week, but the following week, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.